Continuing from the previous video, there's nothing wrong with reincarnation. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You did something wrong. It's not like a penalty. Damn, I got to come back here. No, it's energetic laws of momentum. You have certain cravings and identity that didn't get dissolved here when you were here last time. So then you went to astral, you got some insight, some clarity. You got a new map now, right? Now you're here again. Now it's time to burn through. Either, we're going to talk about this in the middle of the video, I think, either you've come here to build the identity, therefore transcendence of it's not even an option. I don't know how many people watch these videos because of law of resonance. I would think you probably wouldn't watch this. Or if you do, you'll leave some stupid comment because you don't understand what we're saying. Those older souls, you've come here to burn it up. Like somehow that's your contract. You're not here to indulge in it, you're here to burn it up because you want to be free. But there's still some stickiness left, you know, of craving or identity or whatever. You come here to dissolve that. So this is a training exercise, this life. It becomes problematic in the sense that we can't understand because our vision's too narrow when we only look at this one little life. This is such a little, it's just too little. You got to look at the string of lives. You can't see that, but intuitively. I mean, sometimes you can get flashes, but even then, it's not the same as if you were on the causal plane looking at the Ashrik records and you're like reviewing. It's different. But somehow intuitively, you can sense, you're like, oh yeah, this game's a little longer than just this human life. So you can understand how identity and cravings, they build and they get momentum and they have to be allowed to express and die out. This is what brings a soul back here, because the cravings and identity are the only things that have that level of gravity that just pulls you back here, because you can't experience these things on any other plane, not in the sense that you can experience when you're here how it feels to you know, if like, wow, I'm a guy, that's a girl, I'm in my teens now, so my chemistry's activated, I want to talk to her because I think she looks good. My friend says, no, she doesn't. Yes, she does, dumbass. See, beauty's subjective. So I'm gonna go and talk to her. Wow, she like talked to me. And she gave me her number too. I got her number. Yeah, I don't want her number because she's ugly. No, she's not. You're just jealous. Okay? You can't do this stuff on the other plane. The insight's too sharp. It's a whole nother thing. Here you can do all that. And you get a number and then you get together and wow, I feel on top of the world now, like, because I'm half of the whole. I'm a man and now here's a woman and now we're exchanging energy and I feel very whole. It feels really good for a little while. And then, oh no, why is she talking to him? She shouldn't do that. I don't like her talking to him. Hey, Carla, don't talk to him. Why? I was just talking to him. Yeah, I know, but like, I don't like you talking to him. You're supposed to talk to me. And so then there becomes trouble. And then the relationship will end up becoming, ending, basically, at some point. So then, you got to experience what it felt like to be with the opposite sex. That deep craving for intimacy, for joining and unity, all that. If a soul is on the newer side, they're gonna be like, that's what you're here to do, man. That's what you're supposed to do. I'm like, I understand that totally. Those who have been doing this long enough, you see through that. Doesn't mean that you still don't have that attraction. Doesn't mean you're not gonna be in a relationship. Doesn't mean that you maybe not even get married. But you don't take it so serious anymore. You know that it's a dualistic situation, and that's not where real joy can be found. You just see it, like you just know it, okay? But maybe there's still some lingering, strong desire, though, to have that experience. Maybe last life you didn't get to experience what it felt like to have that kind of intimacy with a woman, but deep down inside you wanted to. So when you left here, you had unfinished business. That's the other thing. That brings you here. If you have unfinished business, desires that haven't been realized or experienced, you'll need to come back here and have those experiences. It's a good deal, isn't it? Like, you want to come back here, otherwise you wouldn't come back here. You want to experience those things, so life gives you that opportunity. Don't try to manage this evolution with your mind. It's just, well, you do it, try to see that you can't do it, and then you'll come to hopefully an organic surrender, and you're like, there's a much bigger power here that's running this show. I just give, whatever. God, take care of it. I was gonna make another video. Worrying about reincarnation is what's gonna make you get reincarnated, basically. Because the identity is there of, I'm this person who wants to be high level and I want to transcend all these things, and it is a very deep identity. You gotta transcend that. How? By being given the opportunity to see that you can't control this law of evolution. Yeah, but isn't it natural to want to be free and be liberated? Yeah, it's natural. How deep is that identity, though? Do you really think? Do you believe in this solid you that wants to be free, and you need to go do whatever it takes, extreme tapas and austerities to try to be free? See, that's extreme. That's identity. Transcendence is when you realize this whole evolution is set up to make you free, but you have to have patience and flow with it, and you just chill. You chill when you do things that seem to be egotistical and keeping you small. You chill with that, and you chill when you seem to be aligned and doing higher level things that are accelerating your evolution. You have to. You can't just chill on the negative and then identify with the positive. You see, you come to realize these things. You appreciate the positive. What am I supposed to just be indifferent and like the non-duals and say, really, there's nothing that exists at all? No, you appreciate the positive. You ride it, like, yeah. You can play around if you want. Like, I'm super transcendent, everybody. You can do that if you know you're playing. This comes in time. This is living wisdom. So those things we don't have the opportunity to do on the more subtle realm. They're just not set up that way. This plane is set up for that. So this is the plane that we come to transcend some of the deepest core karma that we have. Some people, they have identity with, they want to be, their natural archetype is they're a teacher. There's different archetypes that you won't lose. You'll have that. You're a teacher. And so then they identify with that. And they start wanting to reform the whole world. Because I'm a teacher. I know what's best. You need to do that. I think our president's like that a little bit. It's extreme. It's excessive. It causes trouble because the identity's so strong. We're a spiritual person. I'm super spiritual, and I'm here to show the way to the people. Me and my friend in India we have all these codes that we developed over the years because we'd hear people say things, and then we'd latch on to, we'd remember it, and then we'd bring it up. There was this Baba, and he was talking to my Indian friend. When my Indian friend was younger, the Baba said something that was kind of out of order. My Indian friend called him out on it because he's innocent, she's like, that doesn't make sense. And then the Baba said, what did he say? Silly fool, silly child, I'm Baba. I'm showing way to the people. You're just a child. So we keep these things and repeat them to each other at certain times, inside jokes. Others don't know what we're talking about. we could have a whole conversation. Nobody even knows what we're saying. They're all codes. All right. So all these, or a musician, I forgot. Let's break things down more. Somebody's super inclined. musical skills or athletic skills. See, this can be sticky. And they help the people when they play it. They get good reviews, and people come up to them afterwards and say, wow, that was so good. It's like it healed my soul. I'm like enlightened now because your music. And they're thinking, yeah, I'm a musician, all right. You know, they get identified with that instead of, okay, I'm a musician by archetype, and this is how the universe uses me to express. It's an expression, but it's not really who I am. You saw through it. You're like, this isn't what I am. This is a role that the universe is playing through me. And you also see that you're playing the music doesn't give the highest ultimate satisfaction. It's still in duality. There's still, there's still pros and cons to it. There's still disappointments, and there's still, maybe your instrument breaks. Maybe you get older, you get arthritis, you can't play the guitar anymore. Oh no, what am I going to do now? You see, there's all these things are subject to having becoming attached to it. That's when you have the opportunity to let the identity dissolve. Is when you see that you can't play that role the same way you used to anymore. And then first you get depressed. It's like a grieving process. You get depressed, and some people stay depressed until they get a new body and they have to come back and do it again, you see, because they have unfinished business. There's the identity with being a musician is still so strong. They think that's what they are and that's what they have to do, so they'll come back again. Or the person realizes, wait a minute though, this has its own time period to express, and then it exhausts, and it's really not me that's doing this. How am I doing this? I'm playing this great music. I don't know how. Somebody asks me how I'm doing it, I can't explain to them. Why? Because I don't know how I'm doing it. Well, it must not be me doing it then. Oh yeah, this is the divine show. It's playing. It's taking form, and it's doing what it does. Has nothing to do with me. That's dissolution of identity, when you have that realization. And so if that work needs to be done, then we'll come to this plane. Now, a little bit about the young souls and the older souls. The younger souls who haven't lived enough lifetimes yet, and who haven't done these things, and they're enough, like they're in the process of building an identity first. You can't transcend or dissolve an identity until you build it. That takes time to build the identity, to experience life. Man, life is so vast. There's so many things, they're getting used to how it feels to even be in this body and in this dimension and navigating it, and it's fun and exciting and yeah, wow, life, And then they think if you're like, yeah, life is cool, but they think, oh, he's like cynical. No, different stage, different plane, different stages of evolution, levels of maturity. They're not. I remember I was at Muji's retreat. I remember I went to Omkara after. I thought I liked her a little bit. I mean, just as far as resonance, because I liked her music. But then when I was talking to her in person, I realized, no, we're a little different. I like Shivali. I think Shivali was her name. Yeah, we got along good. But I went to Omkara after the retreat was done, and I said something. We had talked previous, and so I went to her again. And I said, man, is it always like that? Like you have all these freakouts? I call them freakouts, spiritual freakouts during the retreat? Because people, they'd start being too theatrical. I'm like ecstatic. I was in a beach in Gokarna in India once, and oh man, this guy was doing that on the beach. And another guy said, wow, he's in an ecstatic state. But you could tell vibrationally, it was just, it was totally theatrical. The worst kind of theater, actually. And, but when I asked her, yeah, I could tell her response, she's not, different frequency. She like didn't, like, I don't know, maybe they were going through a transformation. I said, yeah, maybe. But then when I asked Shivani, she laughed. Similar frequency, you know, find your people. It's important. Well, God will find them for you. So, talk about new souls and old souls. So new souls, man, it's like new. Everything's new. I think I brought up the ecstatic stuff because, look, if we're in decades of depression and heaviness, this happens with plant medicine too. And then you do some plant medicine, or something happens, you spontaneously have a shift. You might feel like, wow, I'm Jesus now, or I'm God, because the contrast is so shocking to the system, because you've spent so many years in just a debaucherous state, a low state. But once that stabilizes more and you become more acquainted with your natural self, it's not such a big deal anymore. You don't need to go into a big theatrical demonstration about it, basically. So the older souls, though, they don't come here to indulge in their cravings or identity as much as they're coming here to dissolve it. I'm making another video about, like, is life heavy because this is like the last arc in your soul's journey? Because if it is, man, all your karma gets compressed and you can have a hell of a life. It's non-stop, just bam, 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 you know. So the older souls, you know that these cravings and desires and life experiences, you just know that that's not where it's at. Yes, you can enjoy to some degree while you're here because, like, you have no choice anyway. Like, you have to play your part a little bit, you know. But you know inside that's not where it's at. But yet the craving's still super strong, maybe, to go do it, especially the first few decades or something in your life. So you're going to do it. You're doing it to be free of it. I call it paradoxical sadna. It's another code word. Me and my Indian friend. I used to do that. You'd go into a situation, you know that it's nonsense, basically, but yet it's just the energy in you, you have to experience it, and so you do. But you're consciously tasting the poison that you're drinking from the situation, so that then you feel like intuitively that will help you transcend it. Because you're here to transcend the deepest roots of that karma. That has to come up and express sometimes before you can transcend it. It's not enough just to say, oh, that's low level, so I'm not going to do it. Yeah, okay. Those energies inside you may be operating differently. You might have to do it within reason. I'm not talking about killing people, and you know. So life is very complex, especially on this planet, because you have different levels of consciousness and maturity all mixed together, and this is why people can't understand each other. All these different frequencies trying to talk to each other. So that's another thing to transcend. You get to where you don't mind anymore. You're not looking for people to believe you or appreciate you. You don't take it personal when they don't, because you know literally they can't understand you, even though they think they can. That comes with living wisdom. And then you start to cherish those relationships where you both can play tennis. You can hit the ball and they can hit it back, and you're like, oh, this is cool. Thanks everybody for not understanding me, because now I can, like, appreciate this mutual understanding. 19 minutes already? All right. So in summary, what ends you can say the reincarnation, it's not your intense spiritual intestinal fortitude or spiritual grind and, yeah, I'm gonna beat this thing so I don't have to come back. I remember when I used to go to 12-step meetings often in my 20s, I would see this guy at the meeting, and he'd always be talking about that. He's like, man, I think I got one life left, man. And the next day, he's like, I don't know, I might have two lifetimes left. You know, he's obsessed about how many lives he has left, and he has to work really hard so you don't have to come back here. You don't come back here when you reach a authentic level of organic doneness. You just don't come back. You come back if you come back. You're not worried about coming back or don't come back. You're free. That's all that matters. If God wants to send you back, there's a reason, there's a purpose. You're down. But it's not involuntary and automatic anymore. Because you've lived life. That's why I've made videos in the past. Live life to its fullest. See what it is you want to do, and see what's inside you. What's your karma? Get a pen and paper. It's for me, that's always been easier when I write stuff down. See what's going on. What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? I'm glad I remembered this. Yeah, I need to explain this because this is important. Even the old souls, okay, we're using words to point to something because we got to use language. When they're born, they're still, and I'm making another video on this, but I want to touch on it. There can still be the beginning, first, I don't know, 3-4 decades sometimes, where you're still caught up in collective karma and conditioning, and you have the identity and the cravings, and oh, I want to be rich, or oh, I want to be the playboy and get the girl's attention and all that. Even the older souls do that, but the difference is you somehow know inside what you're doing. You somehow know this is like this is still the craving still kind of for attention and for, you know, from the opposite sex or for fame, you know, like it's still there, it's still alive a little bit, but it's there to be burnt up. You're there to roast it this time. And you remember, you can't roast a seed unless it is allowed to sprout. So that can happen. And so that's okay. That's okay. Nothing, that's part of the rules. Even if a awakened being, an avatar, incarnates here, he's going to be caught up in some collective karma for a little bit, and he's going to have to reawaken. But he will. Yeah, but what if I die before I'm... No, your destiny's been written. You're not going to... There's no bad luck. You'll reawaken again, you'll burn these last little seeds, and then you'll be free. This deserves its own title and video, though. Talking about that. But that's the difference. There's the people who are new, the new souls, this is all they know in life, man. Chase your cravings, fulfill your senses. That's it. That's it. And they hit it until their body expires. And then they'll probably come back and do it again. Because there's so much experience, richness to be felt and learned in those experiences. If you're an older soul, you're not doing it to indulge. You're doing it to be free somehow. And that may start out as a subtle intuitive inclination, but then that grows in time. And then you'll reach a point where you just don't do it anymore. Why? You're organically done with it. That's why. Not because you can't do it because you lost your arms and legs and now you can't mac anymore. No, that's different. That's life renouncing you. But when you renounce it, it means you just can't do it anymore. I was in the restaurant. I used to do plant medicine when I was in Ecuador. I enjoyed it. That's when I got to enjoy having some camaraderie and socializing with people, because if everybody was on medicine, it's like then I could talk to them or something. That they were more open, they weren't so rigid and heavy, and so I enjoyed the social aspect of plant medicine for a while. After I spent the first few years using it for my own purpose, I would do it alone and solve things, you know. You can see my plant medicine book if you want. It's on my website. So we would do medicine, and then after, 9-10 hours, when it began to wear off, assuming we didn't do too much, you do too much, damn, that stuff can last 24, 36 hours. But so after the 8-9 hours, it was just kind of a nice calm. We would go to a restaurant and then we'd chill and eat pizza. But I just remember this so clear. I was done, man. I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to, that stage ended. And then COVID hit, and then I was like, oh, this is good timing. I'm done anyway. Sometimes I wonder, what would I have done if I was in the thick of it? Like, well, you know, of wanting to have all this fun, but now everything's shut down. We would have worked it out still. Yeah. Because it was like that was the stage. But as it turns out, I was done already, and then the whole universe mirrored that because it shut down. That was organic doneness, and it just happened spontaneously. And any spontaneous doneness that I have or experienced with something, trying to get attention from girls, having a desire to make, you know, a lot of money or whatever, it just ended, man. It wasn't because I meditated really hard for 30 days and, you know, or repeated some mantra. No, it's just the cycles through and you're done. Your whole life is like that. When you cooperate with that, it takes a lot of pressure off. And those who know what I'm talking about, you know. But in order for that to happen, we have to burn the identity out. Therefore, I say, go burn it out. Go do everything that you feel you need to do and experience so that you can be free. That's the whole point, is to be free. All right, hope you got something from this video. I'll see you guys soon.